Hi, this is Chris with Nightfall Audiobooks, and today I have for you All Night Party by R.L. Stine from the Fear Street series. This is towards the end of the original run, which is about 51 books long. When I grew up, I read the first 15 or 20 so novels. I enjoy those novels because that's where all of my nostalgia is. I don't have much nostalgia for the end of the series because I had moved on to Christopher Pike and then Mark Anthony and other authors by that time. I didn't have many reasons to continue reading R.L. Stine. And that's the fun about Fear Street. I think everybody picks up R.L. Stine and reads a good chunk for a little while, and then they get nostalgic about that, section that they read, and then they go from there. This was a request on my YouTube channel. You know who you are. Thank you very much for making the request. I haven't read this before. It's a brand new story to me. I read through the first chapter or so, and I wrote down in my little notebook here all of the voices I'm going to be using. I hope I do a good job. I have high hopes. I always do. I've read over 2/3 of R.L. Stine's entire catalog at this point, and he still manages to surprise me. Sometimes I get right up to the last chapter, and I'm like, who in the world is the killer? Who did it? Who's responsible? And it still gets me every single time. But once you know the twist, and then you read back through the book, you can see those little tells, and you're like, there you go. That's why it's the babysitter. That's why it's the stepsister. I know who it is now. I'm eager to get started, and let's begin. What should I read next? I don't know. Please send me an email, nightfallaudiobooks@gmail.com. I am also at home right here on YouTube, at Nightfall Audiobooks. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the join button to show your support. Any help is greatly appreciated. I truly mean that. I also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/nightfallaudiobooks. So, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell whoever you think will like to listen to me tell them tales from R.L. Stine. Thank you very much for listening, and let's begin. Welcome to a Nightfall Audiobooks production of All Night Party by R.L. Stine, a Fear Street novel, Book 43. Chapter 1. Tonight is going to be awesome, Hannah Winters exclaimed. Our plan is brilliant. Gretchen Davies stopped her blue minivan at a red light, then turned to face her best friend. You think Cindy will be surprised? She asked Hannah. Hannah nodded, her green eyes sparkling. She doesn't suspect a thing. She thinks we totally forgot her birthday. She sounded really upset when we all had excuses for not hanging out with her tonight, especially since her parents had to go away on business this week. She's probably sitting around, picking out on junk food and feeling sorry for herself, Hannah's boyfriend, Gil Shepard, commented with a laugh. Little does she know, she's about to be kidnapped, Jackson Kane chimed in from the back seat. And dragged off for an all-night party on Fear Island, Gil added. It was so nice of your grandfather to let us use his cabin, Gil, Gretchen said. She glanced over her shoulder at Gil, who sat in the back seat between Jackson and their other friend, Patrick Munson. Yeah, a surprise party is one thing, but an overnight party in our own private cabin is totally cool, Patrick said. Definitely, Jackson agreed. Gretchen nodded happily. It felt great to be part of the kidnapping plan, especially since she hadn't known Cindy as long as the others. She had moved to Shadyside only 6 months before, when her dad's job transferred him there. She expected it to be hard starting a new school her senior year, but Hannah had helped her fit right in and introduced her to all her friends. I've never done anything like this before, Gretchen confided. Hannah snickered. Neither have we, but it's exactly what Cindy deserves. Light's green, Jackson pointed out. Gretchen shifted her eyes back to the road and started driving again. 6 blocks later, she turned onto the street where Cindy lived. Gretchen pulled her minivan up to a curb several houses away from Cindy's and turned off the engine. Does everyone know what they're supposed to do? Patrick asked. I'm all set, Jackson replied. How about you, Gretchen? Gretchen glanced in the rearview mirror. Her gaze met Jackson's. She felt a tiny shiver race up her back. She looked away. She had hung out with Jackson since she moved to Shadyside, but she still didn't know him very well. She wasn't sure why, but Jackson gave her the creeps. When they first met, she thought he was sort of cute, but he seemed so moody, serious, and quiet. Gretchen didn't think she'd ever seen him smile. Most of the time he stood apart from the group, watching everything. Definitely a strange guy. But weird enough to get his kicks making prank calls? Gretchen wondered. For the last 2 weeks, she'd been getting annoying hang-up calls, always late at night, on the private line in her bedroom. Whenever she picked up the phone, the line went dead. Only her friends had the number to that phone, so she figured it had to be someone she knew. And every time Gretchen caught Jackson watching her, she got a creepy feeling that he was the one. One thing was for sure, he was always staring at her. Like now, she could feel his dark brown eyes on her back. Gretchen whirled around in her seat to face Patrick. The movement must have caught Jackson off guard. With a guilty expression on his face, he tore his eyes away from her. "We all know what to do," Gretchen told Patrick. "Let's go. Let's kidnap Cindy." Gretchen gazed up at Cindy's house. Cindy is going to be so surprised, she thought. She glanced at Jackson and felt a sudden chill. This is going to be a great party, she assured herself. Tonight is going to be so much fun. So why did she suddenly have such a bad feeling? Chapter 2. "Let's get moving," Hannah urged, climbing out of the minivan. Gretchen locked the driver's door as her friends piled out of the van. Patrick led the way. Gretchen walked beside Hannah. "This is perfect," Patrick murmured as they moved through the darkness. Suddenly feeling nervous, Gretchen glanced around. The street stood dark and deserted. She saw no lights on in any of the nearby houses. A gust of wind whipped strands of her dark brown hair across her face. The moonless night sky carried the promise of an approaching storm. "We'll be able to slip in and out," Patrick said with a chuckle. "We'll grab Cindy and disappear. No one will even know we were here." They reached Cindy's house. Patrick signaled the others to follow him to the backyard. A light above the back door cast long shadows across the grass. Gretchen spotted a single light on in the house, the second floor, Cindy's room. Then she saw Hannah hunch down next to the back door and lift a potted plant from the cement step. "Got it," Hannah whispered. She held up a door key. A cold gust of wind cut across the porch, and Gretchen shivered. March really came in like a lion this year, Gretchen thought. She hugged herself inside her denim jacket, wishing she'd worn a heavier coat. She dug her hands deep into her pockets as she waited for Hannah to open the back door. As Gretchen tucked a few strands of her hair behind her ears, she caught Jackson staring at her again. What is his problem, she wondered. She gave him a warm smile, hoping he would smile back at her. But he didn't. He stared down at the ground, his lips twisted in a frown. Then he turned his back on her. "I don't get it," Gretchen thought. "I try to be friendly to him, but Jackson acts as if he doesn't want anything to do with me. Okay, Jackson, play it your way, but I'm done trying to be nice to you. You are one strange dude." Hannah fumbled with the key. Finally, she managed to open the back door. They all huddled together for a minute, listening for the slightest sound, eyes searching the darkness. Gretchen didn't hear a thing, except for the ticking of a clock in the dining room, and the sounds of everyone else breathing. "The coast is clear," Gil whispered. "Let's head upstairs," Patrick instructed. "Cindy is probably in her room." They crept out of the kitchen and down the hall, up the front staircase. At the top of the stairs, Gretchen could see a light underneath the door of Cindy's bedroom. She was home, alone, unaware of what was about to happen. Outside Cindy's bedroom door, Patrick placed a finger to his lips. Then, as they had planned, he began silently counting off his fingers. 5, 4, 3, 2. When Patrick reached 1, they burst into Cindy's room. The bedroom door slammed against the wall. To Gretchen, it sounded like a clap of thunder. She saw Cindy sprawled across her bed reading a fashion magazine. Cindy sprang up in surprise. She stared at them in shock. "What's going on?" she demanded. "How did you get in? What are you doing here?" Gil and Jackson pounced on her. They grabbed her arms and pulled her off the bed. "Hey!" Cindy protested. "Let go! What are you doing?" Cindy struggled to break free, but Gil and Jackson were too strong for her. They held her still while Gretchen and Hannah wrapped a blindfold around Cindy's eyes. "This isn't funny, guys," Cindy cried. "What's going on? What are you doing?" "Hold still, Cindy. I don't want to hurt you," Gretchen said. She tightened the blindfold on Cindy's head. "We'll explain later." Gretchen stepped away from Cindy. She gave a sigh of relief. So far, so good. Everything was going according to plan. "Got the blindfold on, Patrick?" she began. She turned to Patrick, and the rest of the words died in her throat. Gretchen gasped. What was going on? This wasn't part of the plan. Why was Patrick holding a pistol? "Hey," she choked out. The silver barrel glistened as Patrick pointed the gun at Cindy. "Hold still, Cindy," Patrick said, mimicking Gretchen's voice. "We don't want to hurt you." With a nasty grin, he pressed the pistol into Cindy's side. Cindy's shrill scream echoed through the silent house. Chapter 3. No, Gretchen wailed. Patrick, drop it. Had Patrick lost his mind? Hannah dove forward and grabbed Patrick's arm. Are you crazy? Put that down, she screamed. Patrick laughed. Calm down. He jammed the gun back into the pocket of his black leather jacket. It's gone. You never said anything about bringing a gun? Gretchen said in a trembling voice. No big deal. I thought it would make our kidnapping more realistic, Patrick explained. You can check it out. It's not loaded or anything. What's going on? Cindy demanded angrily. Do you really have a gun? What are you doing in my house? We're kidnapping you, Gretchen told her. Huh? Kidnapping me? Why? We're taking you away for an all-night birthday party, Gretchen told her. You are? Cindy squealed excitedly. Where? You'll have to wait and see, Gretchen instructed. She followed Gil and Jackson out of the bedroom. They led Cindy down the front stairs. That's why you're blindfolded, Hannah told her. You guys scared me to death, Cindy said, shaking her head. You really did. That was the idea, Gretchen laughed. Can't I take this blindfold off? Cindy asked, when they were all settled in the minivan. She reached up to pull off the blindfold. No way, Gretchen answered. It stays on until we take it off. But I can't see anything, Cindy protested. That's the whole point, Gil laughed. Cindy loves doing her helpless routine, Hannah grumbled, sliding into the front passenger seat. It worked for her, Gretchen joked. Hannah sighed. No kidding. Gretchen smiled uneasily and started up the engine. After all these months, she still hadn't figured out Hannah and Cindy's friendship. They were more like rivals and friends, always competing for something, grades, attention, boys. When it came to boys, Cindy definitely had the edge over Hannah. Practically every guy at Shadyside High had a crush on Cindy. Petite with big blue eyes and white blonde hair, she was the type of girl guys always fell for, big time. Boys just loved taking care of Cindy. That included Gil, who had been Cindy's boyfriend until they broke up at the end of last summer. Gretchen turned to Hannah, who was fastening her seatbelt. Tall and athletic with freckles and a wild mass of red curls, Hannah didn't need anybody to take care of her. Why don't you turn on the radio? Patrick suggested from the back seat. If this is a party, we need some music, don't we? I will if you answer a question for me, Gretchen replied, pulling the minivan away from the curb. Shoot, Patrick replied. Then he groaned. Poor choice of words. I still can't believe you brought a gun along, Gretchen said. Where did you get it? Why did you do it? Patrick hesitated. Gretchen could sense there was something he wanted to confess but was holding back. What's wrong, Patrick? What's going on? She demanded. I'm really not supposed to tell any of you this, he said finally. The police are keeping it quiet. Keeping what quiet? Hannah asked. Come on, Jackson urged. You can tell us. We can keep a secret. Patrick hesitated, staring out the van window. No, I better not tell you, he said softly. It could spoil the whole party. Chapter 4. Tell us, Gretchen urged. You can't keep us in suspense. You have to tell us now. Patrick sighed. My dad came to visit today, he began. You know he's a police officer in Waynesbridge, where he lives with his new wife. Gretchen nodded. After his parents had divorced the year before, Patrick and his mother had moved from Waynesbridge to Shadyside. What did your father tell you? He told me that a prisoner escaped from the prison upstate, Patrick revealed. He was spotted in the Fear Street woods. Fear Street woods? Hannah gasped. Patrick nodded. I didn't bring the gun along for the kidnapping. My dad gave it to me, just in case we run into the prisoner on Fear Island. Patrick, Hannah wailed. You have such a big mouth. Now Cindy knows where we're taking her. You ruined the whole surprise. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Patrick groaned. Never mind that, Cindy said, pulling off her blindfold. Tell us more about the prisoner. What did he do? Gretchen asked. Patrick didn't answer. Gretchen repeated her question. Patrick, what did he do? Patrick shook his head. You don't want to know. Trust me. Yes, I do. Tell us, Gretchen insisted. He murdered 3 girls. Teenagers, Patrick murmured softly. Whoa, Hannah cried. How did he kill them? Gretchen asked. She turned the minivan onto the gravel road that led through the woods to Fear Lake. Please, Hannah protested. She covered her ears with her hands. I really don't need to hear the gruesome details. I don't know how we killed them, Patrick admitted. My dad didn't tell me. He only warned me to be careful. Why didn't you tell us all this before? Gretchen asked. She parked the minivan near the shore. We could have changed our plans. I promised my dad I wouldn't, Patrick explained. He sighed again. I wish I hadn't taken the gun out when we were kidnapping Cindy. Then he wouldn't have known, and we all could have had a good time. Now I've ruined the party for everyone. Maybe we should go somewhere else, Hannah suggested tensely, to play it safe. Hannah is right, Patrick agreed. Gil shook his head. No way, I'm not scared. Me either, Jackson chimed in. Anyway, we worked so hard to fix up the cabin. All our stuff is already on Fear Island. We'd still have to go across the lake to get it. Why would a prisoner go to Fear Island? Cindy asked. He probably wants to put as much distance between himself and the police as he can. I'll bet he's in another state by now. The birthday girl has spoken, Gil announced. Gretchen heard the van's side door slide open and saw Gil jump out. Hannah followed, then Patrick, who helped Cindy out. Gretchen suddenly found herself alone with Jackson. What about you, Gretchen? Jackson asked. Are you scared? Gretchen turned. She forced herself to stare into the depths of Jackson's dark eyes. His words had sounded taunting, as if he were hoping she might be afraid, as if he were trying to frighten her. No, I'm not scared. I think you are, Jackson replied quietly. Gretchen felt her throat clench with fear. You're such a jerk, Jackson, she snapped. The killer is not out there, hiding on Fear Island. It makes no sense. A smile twitched on Jackson's lips. Don't say I didn't warn you. Jackson's smile chilled Gretchen. What is he saying? Is he threatening me? She wondered. How twisted is he? Chapter 5. Come on, Patrick shouted. We're wasting time. Let's party. After locking up the minivan, Gretchen followed the others to a dock at the lake shore. Gretchen spotted the rowboat that floated beside the dock on the dark water. Patrick climbed aboard first, then he helped Hannah down into the boat. Gretchen shivered, burrowing deeper into her denim jacket. She couldn't wait till they got indoors again. The wind felt damp on her skin, and thick clouds covered the night sky. She didn't need a weather report to know that rain would soon be falling in buckets. Gretchen hoped they wouldn't be caught in the boat when the storm began. She boarded the boat last. Hannah gave her a hand. Gretchen saw only one seat left between Jackson and Patrick. She sat down, then stared straight ahead, pressing her hands between her knees. Across from her, Gil sat between Cindy and Hannah. Hannah pushed off the dock, and Jackson and Patrick began rowing. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm freezing, Cindy complained, her teeth chattering. We pulled you away so fast we forgot your coat, Gretchen said fretfully. Here, you can wear this. Gil slipped off his jacket and draped it around Cindy's shoulders. Feel better? Cindy sighed. Thanks. If that's not enough, I know an even better way to warm you up, Gil added with an evil grin. Gretchen rolled her eyes. Gil was such an animal. She didn't know how Hannah put up with him. Of course, Cindy was no better. She loved to wrap guys around her finger, to get them to do whatever she wanted. Gretchen hated to watch Gil, or any guy for that matter, turn into a drooling little puppy around Cindy. But somebody else, she realized, hated it even more. Gretchen saw that Hannah was barely keeping her anger under control. It had to be hard having your boyfriend still be friends with his ex-girlfriend. Hey, Patrick cried out suddenly. He stopped rowing. What's that? What? Gretchen demanded. Something in the water. How can you see anything? Hannah asked. It's pitch black out. I saw a fin, Patrick cried. Over there. Jackson and Gil peered in the direction where Patrick was frantically pointing his finger. Jackson raised an eyebrow. A fin. In a lake. Give me a break. I don't see anything, Gil murmured. It's coming closer, Patrick shouted. The boat started rocking from side to side as he hummed a theme from Jaws. Dum-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Jackson rolled his eyes. That's really lame. You're such a loser, Patrick, Gil laughed. Gretchen groaned. It was another one of Patrick's dumb jokes. Grow up, Hannah muttered. Patrick shrugged. Admit it, you fell for it, for a moment. So was this the entire guest list for my party? Cindy asked. Isn't somebody missing? Like who? Hannah asked. Gretchen knows who, Jackson sneered. Gretchen felt totally confused. I do? You remember that tall guy with the long black hair? Cindy teased. Your boyfriend? Marco? Marco. Gretchen felt her body grow tense. I didn't invite him, she answered sharply. How come? Cindy pouted. I like Marco. He's so cute. I'm trying to give him a hint, Gretchen explained. Maybe if he finds out he wasn't invited to your party, will be history? Then she added, if you want him, Cindy, he's all yours. I'm sorry you guys are breaking up. I thought everything was going great, Cindy said. Gretchen dug her cold hands deeper into her pockets. Not any more? She stared out at the black water. She didn't feel like talking about Marco Hughes anymore. Couldn't Cindy take a hint? Sure, Gretchen and Marco seemed to be doing okay. Marco was totally different from the guys Gretchen usually went out with. There was something dangerous about him, and Gretchen had been instantly attracted. With his long black hair and silver hoop earring, not to mention the motorcycle he rode, Marco was a rebel, and they really had fun, at first. But as the weeks went by, she realized he was too wild. He didn't care about rules, he didn't care about schoolwork or grades or other people, and he had a terrible temper. Everything had to be done his way, or else. The littlest thing could send Marco into a rage. Gretchen didn't like admitting it to herself, but she was a little bit afraid of Marco. She'd been trying to break up with him for weeks. She even suggested that they see other people, but he wasn't getting the message. "Can we not talk about Marco tonight?" Gretchen begged. "I want to have a good time." "I won't mention his name again," Cindy promised. She made an X over her heart. "Cross my heart." "Hope to die," Gretchen and Hannah finished together. "There's the island," Jackson announced. When the boat neared the dock, Jackson hopped out and tied it up. Hannah climbed out next and gave Gretchen a hand. Then Gil and Patrick helped Cindy. Standing on the dock, Gretchen listened to the slap of the waves against the wood pilings and the wind in the trees. She saw big gray boulders on the shoreline, and beyond them, a thick mist floated over the dark woods. Gil clicked on the flashlight and led the way to a rock-strewn path in the woods, the path that led to his grandfather's cabin. As she trudged along the rough path, Gretchen thought about the decorations in the cabin that she and Hannah had worked so hard on. They had rode over by themselves that afternoon to decorate the cabin and bake Cindy's birthday cake. Gretchen felt especially pleased with all the candles they'd arranged in the front room. Then she remembered. She was supposed to run ahead and light the candles before the others came in. The cabin would look really awesome. She hurried ahead of her friends and raced up the path into the dark, misty woods. Behind her, someone called her name. "Gretchen, wait up. Do you want me to walk with you?" Jackson. Walk alone in the woods with him? No way. The thought creeped her out. "No thanks," she called back. "I can go faster by myself." Gretchen ducked her head and kept moving. The path grew steep. She gasped for breath and slowed her pace. She heard the wind howl through the trees and saw the long bare branches above her tossing from side to side. Dead leaves swirled along the ground. She blinked as fat raindrops splattered on her face and hair. They'd made it to the island just in time. Gretchen spotted the cabin and ran up the wooden front steps to the covered porch. She took a deep breath. Made it. But as she reached for the doorknob, she heard a creaking sound. Something moved in the shadows on the porch. She turned to the side and saw the 2 empty rocking chairs swaying to and fro. Invisible party crashers? "No ghosts, just the wind," Gretchen whispered to herself. She hurried inside. Gretchen flung the front door open. She reached for the light switch along the wall and flipped it up. No lights. Gretchen stared into the darkness. She jiggled the switch up and down. "What's going on?" she thought. "It worked perfectly this afternoon." She jiggled it some more, then gave up. Gretchen took a few steps into the darkness. She didn't feel scared. She knew the floor plan by heart. The door opened to the front room. The kitchen and a bathroom were to her right. A stairway near the kitchen door led to the second floor, where there were 2 bedrooms and another bathroom. Gretchen decided to find a candle. She walked deeper into the room. What was that? She stopped and listened. Silence. Then she heard it clearly. A footstep. Then another. Gretchen wanted to run, but her legs suddenly felt like 2 cement blocks. The slow, heavy footsteps moved closer. Gretchen turned and stumbled toward the door. A tall figure jumped out of the shadows behind her. Strong arms reached out of the darkness and wrapped around her. She opened her mouth to scream. A rough hand covered her mouth, smothering the sound. The arms pulled her close, squeezing hard, harder. "I'm dead," she realized. "He's going to kill me."